So, something major happened overnight while most of us were asleep. A military strike that's about to have a very real impact on our daily lives. We're going to break down what happened and, more importantly, what it means for you right in your wallet.
To really get why this is such a big deal, let's just start with a simple question. Think about it for a second. The last time you filled up your tank, what was that final number on the pump? Go ahead and lock that number in your head, because it's the key to understanding everything we're about to talk about.
All right, so what exactly went down? In the early hours of March 14th, the United States launched a major military operation, hitting a really critical target inside Iran. This is a huge escalation in a conflict that's already been going on for 15 days.
And the announcement didn't come through typical channels. It came straight from former President Donald Trump, who posted this on Truth Social. I mean, listen to those words. One of the most powerful bombing raids in the history of the Middle East. That leaves zero doubt about just how big this attack really was. Okay, so here's how it all unfolded. It started with explosions overnight. By morning, U.S. Central Command confirmed it was them, saying they hit military targets, air defenses, a naval base. But here's the ticker, the most important part, the warning. They made it clear that the oil stuff, the whole reason the island exists, was spared, for now. This was a message, loud and clear.
So why this specific island? What in the world makes Kharg Island so important? Well, it's not just some random piece of rock in the Persian Gulf. You have to understand, this place is the absolute economic heart of Iran. Just look at this number, 90%. That's it. That one statistic is why this island matters so much. It tells you pretty much everything you need to know about Iran's total dependence on this one tiny spot on the map. So what is that 90% of? Kharg Island is where nearly all of Iran's oil, its main source of wealth, gets shipped out to the rest of the world. It's not just a part of their economy, you could argue it is their export economy. It's the backbone. And that 90% translates into a whole lot of money. $53 billion. That's how much Iran made from oil exports just last year. So by hitting the military assets on the island that protects this flow of cash, the U.S. sent a direct threat to their entire economic engine. But this story is way bigger than just one island. The strike on Kharg is directly tied to a much larger global issue, control over the world's most important oil choke point, the Strait of Hormuz. If you're not familiar with it, the Strait of Hormuz is basically this super narrow maritime highway. Every single oil tanker coming from huge producers like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, and yeah, Iran has to squeeze through this little passage to get to the rest of the world. And how critical is it? A full 20%, 1/5 of the entire planet's daily oil supply goes through this one choke point. So if it gets blocked, it's not a regional problem, it's an instant global energy crisis. And guess what? Right now, Iran is doing just that.
And Iran's response to the U.S. strike was, well, it wasn't subtle. They've issued this direct and pretty terrifying threat. They're basically saying, if our economic lifeline is at risk, we're going to make sure everyone else's is too. So a conflict happening halfway around the world, how does that end up affecting you? This is where it all comes home. It's all about the price of oil.
So here's where we are right now. Oil is already over $100 a barrel. That's the highest it's been since the summer of 2022. So we're starting from a place that's already expensive. But if this blockade of the Strait of Hormuz continues, if things get worse, analysts are projecting that prices could shoot up to $150 a barrel, maybe even more. And that is a massive, massive leap. Okay, so what does $150 oil mean for that gas price you were thinking about earlier? Well, the general rule of thumb is that for every $10 jump in a barrel of oil, the price of gas goes up about 25 cents a gallon. Do the math. We could seriously be looking at $6, maybe even $7 a gallon gas nationwide. And it doesn't just stop at the pump. Oh no, the cost of fuel is baked into the price of literally everything. Higher fuel for trucks means your groceries could jump 10 to 15%. Your heating bills are going to surge. Plane tickets, shipping costs for that thing you just ordered online, it all goes up. So with the stakes this incredibly high for absolutely everyone, the big question is, what happens next? The whole situation is just unbelievably volatile, and nobody seems to have a clear idea of where this is all headed. Here's just a quick snapshot of the war after only 15 days. The human cost is already staggering, and it's climbing. And check this out, Iran's supreme leader hasn't been seen in public for almost a week, and these retaliatory drone attacks are now spreading across the Gulf, hitting countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar.
And if you're looking for a diplomatic way out, well, the two sides are on completely different planets. The U.S. is claiming Iran is defeated and ready to make a deal. At the same time, Iran is vowing an existential fight and threatening to hit U.S. hideouts. These are not the words of a conflict that's cooling down.
And this quote here from Senator Lindsey Graham seems to capture the reality of the situation perfectly. There is no quick fix. There is no clear end in sight. And that means the economic uncertainty and that pressure on oil prices could be with us for a very long time. Which brings us right back to our final question. We always think of war as something that happens over there, to other people. But when the consequences start showing up on your gas station receipt, on your grocery bill, it really forces you to think, doesn't it? How foreign is it, really?